We've got a Jayco Eagle in here. A big old fifth wheel. So some of the things you'll notice is these are not sealed. Every one of these screws really should be sealed. Don't have very much. This is all dry. This is real dry. All this here. Yeah, that just crumbles off. So you want to make sure that stuff's all sealed. So the other thing we don't like, and this is the whole point of the curves as well. Look at all that debris up underneath here. That's a lot of debris. What that does is it dries out the AC gasket. So when that gets dried out, then you start getting leaks. You start getting a leak under there, it can go into the roof deck, and then it can get into the ceiling. I mean, it can make a mess. So on these here, you can see how you got debris up inside here. Yep. A lot of people, there's no caulking in there. You really want to have caulking in here, because right here on this edge, even on this edge right here, this edge, and there's another one around the other side, there's a screw there. So the water, when it can travel in and find its way through there. So you want to make sure, if you have one of these, make sure you put some booger up on the side here. So, not that I'm a proponent for this stuff. I don't like this stuff here, all this self-leveling. It's just, that isn't the way you seal a roof. So it just turns problematic. So you can see under here, look at how much debris is up underneath this one. That's a lot. So we'll see what we find on here. Hopefully, you know, sometimes we catch these before they become a problem. And that's awesome, you know, because it saves everybody a whole bunch of money from repairs. So the same thing with this vent here. You can see all the debris up inside there. Obviously, somebody's tried to go around and this skylight a couple times. They've gone around there. You can see another breaching right here. You can see another one right here. Well, obviously, these are issues that you're going to have with it leaking. And down here is a pretty common problem. When the water runs down, it just finds its way in there. You can tell somebody's been trying to put this. And if this stuff worked like they said, look how much of a mess they made here. That's just terrible. So we're going to end up taking this off. And when we take that off, you may see what the original color is up underneath this thing. So, but there's no reason to have all that slobbered over there like that. But even though they did do that, you can see it didn't take. And it should be working. If this is a product that's supposed to work, why does it fail all the time? You shouldn't have to keep going around and putting self-leveling on stuff. That's not the way you seal a flat roof. The membrane right here, it's very rare that we have issues with the actual membrane, unless a tree branch grabs it or something obvious like that. But as a rule, you don't generally get leaks from the membrane. You get them from the penetrations. So people think that when the roof leaks, they say, well, it's under warranty. I got a 10-year warranty. I got a 12-year warranty. You have a warranty for this right here, this. You have for that. And the warranty is going to read something like, it won't have unusual chalking, oxidation, or fading. That's all that is for. They're not going to guarantee that whoever installed this and whoever cut these holes and whoever sealed them, they're not going to guarantee that you won't have any leaks. They can't do that. So you're still going to experience leaks, and it has nothing to do with the membrane. It has to do with the installation. So while I'm on this side, I'm over here looking at this. Is something we're going to seal. That's a good sized gap right there. You can get a lot of water in there. So and we'll get that, because it's going to be right in our face. So I'm about to take all of this off. And then right here on the edge, let's see if I get my knife on me. All they generally do on these things is just put a lick of tape on here. And we'll see if they even did that. There it is, right there. That's all they do to protect the roofing from the edge here. That's all they do, just like that. That's not very good. You should have something a little more substantial than a cheap piece of tape on there. But you know, their whole mission is to get it built, get it out, get it sold. That's it. And when you understand that, then you understand why it's always breaking down. So the other thing I don't like is, you know, they wiggle a lot when you come up here. They'll wiggle just coming up. And then you can get this breached, and then water will get up inside there. So we're going to be putting some boots on there. And then I think that's about all I can see. Gotta get these walkboards set over because we're gonna have to start taking the and putting a wrap on here. So we do all that. We put a wrap on here to protect the coach so we don't get anything on it. Same thing here. They just slobbered it all on there, you know. Like I said, I'm not a proponent for that system. You're not going to see this on a commercial roof. You wouldn't see on any flat roof except for an RV. You're never going to see that. It's just that's not the protocol for it. That's not the standard. So again, the same thing here. Just keep plopping it all over here. So we're going to strip all this down, and then obviously got a missing cover. But this is just a vent that goes into the plumbing. So any water that gets in there should be going down into the holding tank. But when we do our boots, it will. We won't have to worry about that. So other than that, we're going to get ready to tear this off and see what we got and check everything out. See, you know, we're going to take the decking up anyways. We'll see what's up underneath the decking. So, and then I'm looking down here, and you can see it looks like it kind of drops down over there pretty aggressively. So we'll see how that all works when we go to put it back. But sometimes these things are kind of wonky, and I like them to be nice and even. So that's why I'm trying to see how they got it. But you can see right in here, it kind of scales down quite a bit. You know, this part here is thicker or wider than back here. And then it gets thinner and then wider again. But we're going to try and balance it out to get it to look better. And so you can see all that debris up inside there. We'll get the ACs down too, and we'll clean those out, and we'll check everything on there. So, all right, well, let me get to work, and we'll show you what we got. While we're getting some of this up, look at all the crud right here. This is what I call a roof mount. I mean, obviously they all mount on the roof because they're on there, but it has bolts that go right through the base. There it is. This is what they use to go right through to hold it down. I don't really care for that style, but a lot of times they'll waller out. So we're going to see what it's like up underneath there. I don't know the year of this coach, but so far what I'm seeing is like this plywood. It's only 3/8, but it's still in good shape. We're probably going to end up replacing it anyways with 1/2 inch, because you can see, like when you walk on it, you still get them soft spots. You can see how and this guy isn't even that heavy, and you can see how it's kind of bouncing around. So once we pop all that free, well, like I said, you can see all the debris in there. Then let's see, where were we? On the other side, I think. We had some damage on the other side. Still trying to get some wrap when I cover these awnings up. So look how much filth gets up underneath here. So what can happen is, with all that debris that's on there, it will dry out the gasket. When the gasket dries out, then you start getting leaks, and then you start having problems. So this is some damage we got right here. You see all that. So obviously that was leaking, because you can see right around in there how it came around. So far that's all we see. We haven't pulled anything else up yet, but we'll find out. But I mean, that's enough reason to get the roof done. So in the last Jayco we did, there's the plumbing right there. Let's see if I go around the other way. So what's great about having these scaffolds like this, you can walk right around. We can work comfortably. So, you know, we're missing some insulation here. That's a lot. Ooh, that's like 4 inches. So we're probably going to add insulation. But right up here is probably some duct work. And the last Jayco we did, that plumbing, they carved out the duct work. And we're going to see if that's the same on this, to see if they did. And we had to reconstruct that whole ductwork because it was blowing cold air up inside the, you know, basically, if you want to call this the attic area, it was blowing cold air up in there. And obviously you don't want to have the ductwork, any holes in them anywhere, regardless, because it's just not efficient. But it's also, like I said, just blowing all that cold air up there. And the last Jayco we did have to put more insulation. So more than likely we will, because I see all this. You want all this insulated. Look at these big gaps. You want to be able to get some. So now, obviously, there's a skylight. And we don't even really have any damage here. I mean, that's awesome. That really is. It's not common I see all this. So, and then you have this vapor barrier up underneath here. And they say that the purpose of this, it's aluminum paper. They say the purpose of that is to reflect UV light, but it really can't reflect that much UV light. So the way it's designed. So I'll show you some when we pull this out. Roofing is off. I was really expecting a lot more damage from there. Normally there's a hole right there for to secure the air conditioner. Normally those are all rotted out. So far we've got that other one up there, and I gotta admit I'm pretty surprised. We got a little bit of damage right here, so, and we haven't taken it off yet, so we'll see what we got up underneath there. But that's where we are so far. So we're going to start unscrewing the deck. This one's screwed down, which they got these screws in here. I don't recommend putting screws in these type of trusses, these wood trusses, because you can tend to split them. So, well, there's a stink bug too. All right, let's get to work, and you'll see. Look at this. That is, do you see how, like, no insulation is in there? Look at that, 1.5 inch insulation. We're gonna have to put some insulation in this thing for sure. So we're gonna be looking for the duct lines. We're gonna be looking at all these. I wanna make sure they're all sealed. But we just got this, obviously the first piece out, a couple pieces. This is a radiant barrier sheathing. And what they think is that by putting this on, it will reflect UV light, and by reflecting UV light, you know, keep the coach cooler. It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, actually the way they got it here, it technically would, but when you have it down like that, you really want to have like a 3/4 inch cavity below there. But that doesn't mean don't put insulation in there. Have they the proper insulation in there, then this wouldn't be effective at all. So Tech Shield, LP Tech Shield, they make a radiant barrier sheathing. Solar Board makes one as well. And if you go on there, you can see the whole principle of how it works. But it does need to have that cavity there, or you know, just a gap, if you will, up underneath there for it to work. The other thing I don't like is, see, you can't glue anything, because this isn't glued. So even if I glue that, it's only glued to this, and then it's not glued to the truss. So we'll just cut it, and when we fill it, I'll just probably drop these back down in there. It's no big deal, but it really doesn't do anything. A lot of people think it does, but again, you can go do some research on it. If it worked, I'd just put it back in, but it doesn't. But you can see, like, very, very little insulation. That's just 1.5 inch insulation. That's all that is. It's just crummy little 1.5 inch insulation. So, you know, and again, that's what I'm saying. We want to check all these duct lines, and we'll do it. We're just breaking up all the plywood right now and getting it all off. I'll show you. One of the things I wanted to show was this roof deck actually looks pretty good. This would technically be a candidate for a spray-on, roll-on roof. This would be a candidate. Outside of this, hopefully, I'm sure they'd probably fix all that. But otherwise, I mean, it looks pretty good. This would be a candidate for a spray-on roof. But like I said, we don't do that because, or a roll-on roof. But the reason why we don't do it is because I want to check what's underneath there. I want to make sure everything's okay. And make sure we're satisfied with everything underneath it before we do that. So, like I said, we're going to pull all of this up, check everything, and then we'll start. We're going to put a 1/2 inch decking down anyways, and like you said, we're going to glue it. So, all right, just as I shut the camera off, I saw my first breach right here. So we're going to obviously get tape on that. And then right here, here's another issue right there. See that big gap? That needs to be sealed up. We need to get that, because as that air conditioner is blowing, it's getting up over the ductwork and blowing it over the ductwork. You know, this one looks kind of sealed here, and it may have some booger on that other side, but it really should be sealed from the inside. And again, this is stuff we're looking for. All right, so we got decking all off now, and then you can skip through the ads. Skip through the ads. That's a YouTube thing. We don't monetize, so I wanted to make sure I got that out there. You know, but now we're looking for breech duct lines, like I told you, like this one here. I think I showed you that on the other side is breached as well. And then this one, that's a good size one right there. So we're looking at all of that. Anything we see that just looks squirrely, Like some of that tape looks like it's just coming loose. So that's something we want to look at. Then we're looking at all these wires. I want to make sure they're not tight, bound up. I also want to make sure they're not digging into, there's another one right there. I want to make sure they're not digging into the foam. That's all this is. And what it'll do is, like that bundle, I don't like that. That's real tight. I don't like that at all. That doesn't make sense why they came up over here and made it real tight to go around this. Why didn't they just go on the other side? That would have created some room. So we're going to cut that, and I'm going to move it over so it's more free, because I want to take the stress off of this. Right now it's pulling on it, and not quite tall enough to show you, but I'm sure if I pull that away, you'll see there's a gouge in it, in that foam. It doesn't take much to do it, but that doesn't make sense why they had it come up over there. Really, it should have went up underneath it. It really should have went underneath and around the other way, and then keep off there altogether. Well, you can see one of the gouges right here that I'm kind of getting at, and it'll just dig into it and it'll breach the ducts. So there, look at that one there. Wow, that's a lot of air going up into the attic. Wow, that one too. Gee whiz. This is why you want to pull this in. Again, going back to the previous clip where I said, hey, look at this deck. It looks like a good candidate for a spray-on roof. And it did. But how are you going to fix this when this happens? You got to take the roof off or the ceiling out somehow. So you go, hey, you know what? I know I'm blowing some air up here, and you fix this one. Get it all done. You fix it. And then that one down there needs to be done. That one over there needs to be done. What are you going to do? Tear your whole ceiling apart trying to find this thing? That'd be crazy. You have to be shoving an endoscope up in there and try to find out where it is. That just doesn't make sense. So we still even got someone in here. This is more of a longer trunk line right here, so the joint's probably down this way. Let me bring this camera back. Look at the way they do this. Look at that. They took out more than half of your supply. So all this air that's coming out through here. Let's see how we get this off of here. Yeah. I need to wear some taller shoes. Get some taller scaffold or something. But look how much they gouged out of that. Wow. So all of this right here, this is about 8 inches or so, I believe, 7.5 inches anyways. That's 7.5, and it narrowed it all the way down to there. So now it's trying to blow, and then it gets narrowed down, and now it opens up, and you lose all that volume going down there. You're not going to get good airflow. That needs to be fixed. You got another hole on that side? Yeah, I'll come around and show it. Yeah, we got to fix a couple other things. You're saying there's another hole on the other side. So this is what we do. I want to take time, make sure this is done right. Our shop just doesn't grab all these coaches, try to put roofs on them, push them out for the sake of numbers. You know, no one wants to do this twice. So take a minute, do it right. Come over here and see what you got. Oh, yeah. That's what he was talking about right there. And then they did it also, another one I saw. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh, yeah, there it is. Look at that hot mess. Are you serious? So how are you getting all that air? I mean, there is another unit down there, but this whole area is going to be restricted with airflow. That don't make sense to me. I guess they're figuring that air unit will be pushing this way, which it does. And they both push in the same direction, you know, against each other. But you really need, in my opinion, need to open that up. So, all right, let us get to work, tape up some of this stuff and see what I can come up with. You know, a good idea to, I don't know if I can get that, moved over or not. If I can, I'm going to, but I can't guarantee that. We'll see. Because I have to put an elbow on there and put an elbow on it and bring it over here. That would be a good thing to do. I'll see if that's possible. If I can do the same to that one up there, I will. That'll definitely open up the air. Let's see if we can get done. Look at how they did this block. They bridge that right up on top of there like that. I'm hoping that isn't pushed into the foam. That's just foam. It's just, that's all it is. It's cheap. So, there's another one over there. There's a few things I don't like. Let's get the thing fixed up. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you that I remembered was These aren't glued in here. This is just stapled in. That's all it is. They're just stapled. These things move all around. I've seen worse, but there's no glue or anything. So these things just move around. Granted, when you put the sheathing on, that'll pull it. But what would be better is if it was glued all together. And that would obviously be stronger. So I'm trying to show you. When they put, this is the outlet right here that goes into the ceiling. The air comes down here, goes down. I can't even get the camera in there. But it's not even glued. And it's not taped or anything. Like there's a hole right there. I don't know if you can, so probably all dark in the screen. Let me show you up here. So we decided to cut the trunk line and I dumped all those wires down up underneath. So show them this one, lift that one up. See, that's all it is, it's loose. Lift it up a little more. See, no glue. I didn't expect glue, but it's not taped. So they just put a hole and just ran it up there, and it's not enough to hold it. That's probably what these were supposed to do, these little blocks, to keep the duct down so it wouldn't blow the duct as it's trying to force, wouldn't push up. That's more than likely what it was. So what we're going to do, we're going to open it up, and we're going to tape it all in there. We're going to do them all. We'll find them. We're going to tape them in there, and we're just going to make a lid. We're going to open it up, and then when we get that opened, we're going to tape it. We'll pull that back down and then retape it. So, and then we're also negotiated on this other side. We're going to move that pipe over. I got it figured out. So that's the good thing is, you know, I went to the better funded schools in my state, so I can think outside the box like this. So we're going to do that too. We're going to bring it. We're going to put a 90 on it. I'm going to bring it over. It's just a vent, so it just needs to get air. So all we're going to do is just bring it up and over out of that way, and the same with this one down here. So that's the outlet that goes into the ceiling. So we're just going to tape it all around there so it's nice and sealed. Flip the lid down, and then we're going to tape over that. All right, so what we did, we cut the duct, we rejoined it back together, and then we put an elbow on it, see, to clear the duct work. So now you got good flow. And then what we do with these, see how we taped it all in there because they weren't taped. So we want to make sure they're all that air is going down in there and not going anywhere else but inside the coach. So now we just tape the lid back up. And we got one more to do over there, wherever it is. It's over there a little bit, down there, down the road a little bit. So like I said, we got all these taped up. And then this is what I was talking about. See how there's a hole in it? That's going to blow some air out. We're going to put some protection on that. We still got some more taping like right there. So we're going over this thing pretty good to make sure that it's, you know, just the way it should be. And we're taping up, like you can see those wires. We put some tape on there and then to protect the foam, and then we tape them again so they don't keep shivering back and forth and chafing anything. And then the other one, we did a relief cut on that one. I think I was telling you about up there. I'll go walk around and show you. There's that big bundle of wires I was talking about earlier, right here. So we did, we just cut the ductwork. We're going to drop it down below. So all those wires that were sitting on top, this big bundle right here, now it's going to be underneath. And it won't be bouncing along and everything and marring this whole thing up. We'll just put a coupler in there. We made up these couplers. Where's the couplers? Do you have one? You have a coupler? So then what we do is we make these couplers up and they fit inside like that, and then they join. So now when you go to tape it up, you're not squashing everything. You don't have to, it's going to be nice and flat, so you have something good to tape around. After we got all the repairs done, we put in some extra insulation. We just cut these and put them back in. So what we did is, that's a whole bunch of blown in insulation. I like this because then I can get inside these little slots right down in there. We can get up underneath the AC ducts, so we can get some product up in there, some insulation. Now what we're going to do is just get the decking ready. That's what we're working on. I'm going to start putting decking on. But now, with the way this is, see, I can glue to here. You can't put this down and then try to glue on top of it because this won't be glued to that. We got some decking going down. Then we got to finish gluing this up, but we're getting it on there. hard to work the camera and hold the caulking gun in my left hand here. There we go. Now we drop her on there. So we've got all our metal edge banding on here. You can actually see it right here. It comes up and goes over. They just put a swash of tape on there because we put staples in it. So it's all glued down. Everything's all glued in, fastened in there. And now you can see some of this sawdust right here, a little bit here. We sanded the joints down so they're nice and even and flat. The way these trusses are in, they'll be kind of kicked a little bit. And even though they may break okay, you still may have a little bit of, because of the way it's leaning, one may be proud a little bit. So we just sand it down, make it look clean. So that's what he's doing up there. He's sanding it all down. Then once we get that all done, we're going to put our protective strips over the joints. We're just going to put them over these joints that he's sanding down, and then the roof can go on. So we've got 3 pieces going on this roof. The way this roof is, I'll walk over here a little bit. You can see it slopes up this way, then it's going to go like this, and then it drops down in the front. If you try to take this material and bring it up in one sheet, you're going to get bubbles all over it. Material doesn't want to lay 3-dimensionally, so you're coming up, then you're dropping down, but you also have camber, and then you want it to drop down again, and the camber that's going around in the front is a lot sharper. You always have these bubbles. So what we do, this one's already been glued, so and this one is glued here. We still got to do the other side, but what we're going to do, we left this because we're going to weld 5 inches. We're going to weld it all back together, so it'll be fine. The same with the front. You can see how sharp that is. If you try and do that with one piece, it's going to make a hot mess. I mean, you can even see a little bit, which we trying to take the curse out, but you may see a little bit of waving in here. The gutter will get rid of this, but when we start putting the roofing on here, especially to try to come around, we'll have our work cut out for us. But you certainly wouldn't be able to do it all the way back here and then bring it over. You have to break it up. And like I said, we'll just end up welding it all back together. It doesn't make a difference. It's all one sheet. It's kind of like welding 2 pieces of steel together. It's the same principle. So then once we get all that, it'll lay better, it'll look better, and then we'll start cutting in out for all our vents and AC and all that stuff. All right, well, that's where we're at so far. Once this can get rolled over, we'll do the other side. I'll do it in stages, and then we'll be able to put it all back. Here's our skylight. All right, so got a solar fan here. There's an intake, and it wraps down, and this is all aluminum, and it goes down and returns back. So the inner lens will be here. In the event this lens cracks, it'll come down. That's why we sealed all this. It'll drool down here and not get in the coach. So what this is for, see how all we did was just put a bead on it, is if it cracked right here, I don't want it to drool down and then get in here. So it'll come down and it'll just get directed away. So if the customer sees any leaks coming from this lens on the inside, he knows that he's got cracked skylight. So now we're just going to glue this on, and you can see all the discoloring. It's all primer. So we're going to glue it down, and then we'll put on our fan, and then we'll put on our little, this is basically going to be an intake. It's going to be an intake that'll pull the air, it'll go up, under, because there's going to be another skylight lens in here, your interior one. So this is just going to come up, roll down, hit the air wheel, and keep that constant air. So on these skylights right here, as you have it sitting on here, when the weather gets colder like it is now, it's in November, so when the weather gets colder, you may get some frost on here. And if you get frost on here, you actually have frost on here. So now the sun comes up, sun's going to evaporate this, but what's up underneath here basically diffuses and it drools down, and that's known as dry rot. So because it'll just start, the deck will start wicking it up, or in this case it could be a curb, but that moisture is going to get in there. That's known as dry rot, because it's not really a leak, it's just condensation. So Now with it like that, the air will go in, go up over that, in between the two lenses, come back down and get exhausted out. This is going to be a solar fan. So the solar fan's going to kick on, and when it kicks on, then, you know, once the sun comes up to evaporate this is going to kick on. So it's going to keep that constant movement through there, and it will just keep it dry. That's what we're trying to do, just keep it dry in there, because there's nothing to keep it dry. So we don't want anything to rot out. So that's what we're working on, and then like I said, we're going to glue this down, and once we get that all glued in, we're about ready to go, and we'll put in our breather pipe over here. That's our hot air gun. That's how we do all the welding, is with that. So we're going to weld it. All this is all welded. I'll go over that afterwards. And then we put in obviously the trim. So you can see we glued this on the gutter, and then you can see that's a little bit of caulking that's behind it that burped up. We're going to just get that all struck down, but we're going to put 2 strikes on here. The other 2 strikes of caulking. So when we put this roofing on, as it laid down, this is a structured membrane, and it doesn't like 3-dimensional deals going on. You know, when you got a 3-dimensional situation, it doesn't like that. So we got the camber of the roof going this way, we got it going this way, and then you're turning it going this way. So imagine wrapping a piece of paper on here. You know, you'd have also, we may have a few wrinkles in here. That's just something we can't fix. It's just part of the beast. But other than that, it's I'll show you the rest, like I said, once we get it all done. This is our new roof pan, or our new roof panel. So now what we're doing is just gluing it. We already got that other one down the other side done. Already got that one done. Then we got one more left. So, alright, so we've got our metal roof in, all done. So, on the edge here, the water is going to come down, it's going to roll right down. Obviously it'll probably hit this, not much we can do about it. But on some other ones, the whole idea, and the reason why I do them this way, this is what was on there. Just a piece of flat stock that went on there. And what it did was when the roofing come over, that's how they terminated. This is a termination bar, so it terminates the roofing. But when the water comes down, it tends to want to roll back, kind of travel on it. So I omit those, and then this way it can come right down the slide, you know. But again, there's nothing I can do about the way this rail system is. It is what it is. But that's the whole idea to it. So we're going to replace this little insert trim. We're going to replace that. Then everything's all sealed. The other thing we did is right here, where these screws are, those are different screws. These are sheet metal screws, but what they are is they're shouldered, like kind of like a drywall screw. That's the best way to say it. So normally they use a regular sheet metal screw, and it's got a head on it, and the head is proud. So now when it slides in and out, that gasket keeps getting that screw, and it starts wearing on that gasket. So I wanted to omit that altogether. Obviously this is caulked right here and sealed. Everything's all sealed. You can actually see all the screws are sealed too. Every single screw, we put that on there. But so now this will ramp up, and it won't get interfered with that screw head. So a lot of times when you put the tape down there, that's how they do it at the factory. When they put the tape down there, that gasket will keep wearing on that tape, and the tape starts to curl up. I don't like that design. It's a terrible design. It doesn't work well in the long term. There's always issues with it. So they're all the same. And then we also got this one over here. We got the roof on there, and like you said, now all we're doing is going to put this insert trim in. We got awnings to put on, and out of that it's ready to go, and I'll show you the rest of the roof here. All right, so we are done with our Jayco. So we got the metal roofs on, and then I can see that the awnings had a little bit of sag right there, but down there it doesn't. And what it is because we've been moving the slides to try to get everything in and so forth, we just got to balance it out. On this rail system, there's a Schwintech right here. There's a motor in there, and that motor, there's one here, there's one down the other end. So when you hold that button, and this is a pretty common problem with a lot of slides, when you go to extend it and you know it's pushed out, hold that button for about another 3 seconds. Just hold it. And the same thing when you come in, hold it for about 3 seconds. So on the motors, there's some sensors that the control module will read to keep them in sync with each other. So, but because we've been kind of playing around back and forth, we're not all the way out, we're not all the way in because of the way we got to put that in there. We're just going to get it balanced out when you run it a couple of times, and it'll be fine. So that's, if you're looking at it, that's what it is. You can see that one down there is doing much better over there. So we got everything all squared away. Everything's all done. Everything here is all heat welded all around. That's all heat welded. So we put this on the this little stamp on here. We put that on there so we can monitor the roof when it comes back for inspection. So we like to know how old the roof is, how it's performing, what it's doing, so on and so forth. So also if the customer ever did sell the coach, then they would, you don't have to worry about someone trying to talk you down. One, we do a transferable warranty, but also we could tell the person, hey, listen, I just had that put on in November of 24, so, you know, it's still under warranty, right? So the system itself, this is a 20-year, well, before I go any further, I really want to thank the customer for bringing this all the way to us. He came all the way from Kentucky down here, so I'm sure he's passed up quite a few RV centers to bring to us specifically, and we appreciate that. We're honored by that, actually, and that's why we do the job the way we do, because I mean, that's, people don't drive that way to get crappy work. They want to make sure it's done right, so they're going to travel all this way. If they want to get crappy work, they can get that locally. So all that said, like you said, I want to thank them for bringing it to us. We appreciate the work. The roof system is a 20-year commercial grade. This is called a TPO. TPO stands for thermoplastic. This is a 20-year commercial roofing membrane. Everything is all heat welded together. And just bring it back to us. We do the warranty on it. If you bring it back to us annually, then we'll do the inspections on it. We do show the customer how to do the inspection, and it's not hard. But on this particular coach, I think I had mentioned that we had to do it in a few pieces. So I'm going to go over here and show you basically a rundown on the roof, like I usually do on all the others. So that's just the actual roofing. We got tan, white, and gray, and I'll go over that in a second. But we also got this same thing, metal roof on this one as well. So all of these are all heat welded in here, all those curves. I custom make every single thing for these. So this air conditioner was just screwed down to the roof deck. And was some aluminum piece in there that they screwed it down to, but after a while, that gets wallered out if you service it enough or if you strip it out. And that's can be problematic because now you don't have it snug like it should be, and then you would have a gasket issue. Also is screwed down to the roof, and that foam gasket is just sitting there with all the elements, especially on this roof with a slope coming into it. This elevates it. These curbs, that's what they are. They elevate the air conditioner, the skylights, the vents, and so forth, elevate it off the roof line and redirect the water around. So what we did here is I made up these special mounts, and that's how the air conditioners were put in there. You probably could see the bolt coming up through there. So now if anybody needs to service this unit, all you have to do is just take the cover off and they just unscrew it. It's that simple. And those are galvanized bolts, and just pop it off. It's that simple. And then with a 9/16 wrench. And the same with the vents and everything. Anybody can follow behind us. It's not hard. You know, other systems like, you know, and I've said it before, like a spray-on roof or a roll-on roof, those type systems, if you wanted to replace, say, well, say that antenna or a vent or a skylight or something, when you dig all their product out, you have to go back to them to have it recoated. You don't have to do that with us. You know, anybody can follow behind us to do all this. So like I said, all this is all heat welded, so there's no place for self-leveling. You don't ever have to put self-leveling on this roof. It's just, there's no place to put it. And then, again, same thing with the way we designed this curb for this antenna. This is the pieces that we welded together. So we've got, I don't know, 5-inch weld on this thing. That's quite a bit all the way across. All the way across, got a 5-inch weld, so it's one piece. So we had this piece come up because of the way it's shaped up. See if I bring the camera back a little bit. It comes up on an angle, and then it kind of levels off, and the roofing doesn't like all of this. You get all, sometimes you'll have these burps, basically these fish mouths right here, and we try to minimize it, and the best way to do it is just put another piece on, so it gives that relief on this piece, and then this one as well, because it's not one sheet, because you'd have to tuck and fold, and there isn't a lot of room to do it on this. So we welded this piece, and then when we come up front, we had to do another one because of the way it rolled around. And the way it came around here, you're probably going to see some of this little bit of wrinkling. That's just normal. There's nothing we can do about it. But this piece is the same. This is a structured membrane. This isn't like, you know, the cheap stuff that they use on RVs, so it's a lot stronger. So imagine trying to take a piece of paper and wrap it over that edge. So all the caulking on here, this 2 strikes of caulking that we put on here, when we put the gutter on, it's glued, and then the screws that are in there, those are all sealed. Every screw has caulking on it, and then we put a pass on here. You know, we put a strike of caulking, obviously you can see, but then we go over it twice. So the reason why we put 2 strikes on here is if you've ever run a caulking gun, you put down, you can hear it pop and crackle, and it doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter how much you spend for it. They're all the same the way they get dispensed into the cartridge. It's the actual product in itself that makes a difference in the quality of it. But the way it's put into those tubes, it's all the same. So inevitably you're going to get air in the tube, and that's what you're hearing. So if you're running down with a caulking gun and you hear a pop and crackle, you're pushing air bubbles in there. So if these do have some movement to them for sure. So I don't want that to breach, and now I possibly have a leak. So that's why we put 2 passes. I figured, what are the chances of having one air bubble land on top of another? Probably slim to none. So again, you can see the big weld we put here on this one, and then all these curves are all heat welded. They're all heat welded in here. So he wanted to put these on. He had some issues, he was saying, with some odor in the tank or whatever in the bathroom, so we put these on for him. That's what he wanted to have done. And let's see, same thing with that plumbing boot. These are all heat welded in here. So on the other side over here, let's see if I can show you. I may have to go over there. Well, maybe I'll show you from here. All right, so what we got, you've got the lens right there. That's your shower lens, and I think I showed you how we put the vent on there. That's a solar fan, and that over there is the draw. So it pulls air in, goes up, over, and out. Especially now with it being cooler out, you're going to get some frost. You're probably going to get some dew on top of that skylight lens, and the sun will come up and warm it up and evaporate what's on top. But the inside, you know, that's going to have that dew on there, and I know I explained that earlier, the principle of it, but that over there is a solar fan. So what it's going to do is always stay on and keep that air flowing. Just keep it flowing through there, and that'll get rid of any condensation. It'll actually also help if you have any heat buildup. Some people complain about those, you know, really projecting some heat down into the bathroom. So that should help pull out some of that heat as well, because it's going to be on there regardless whether it's a cold day or warm day. It's a solar fan. So that's a system. Here's some solar, or yeah, that's solar right there, I believe. And anyhow, so we just put a marker on there. That's all it is, just an S. So the and that's about it for there. So let me show you the membrane itself. And the maintenance on this is real easy. This, you can pressure wash this roof. You can take it to a truck wash. If you want, hey, get up there and pressure wash that roof, they can. It's not a problem. It won't hurt this roof at all. If it did, you bring it back to me and I'll take care of it. But we've pressure washed a whole bunch of these roofs when we did commercial work. We had to get them clean so we could find leaks on certain applications. But all that said, you can just wash this with mild soap if you wanted to, and it'll come right back. That's all you need, dish soap, really, literally. So the roofing itself is, like I said, here's the 3 colors. Here's all our information is right here. So you can go right to our website, rvroofinstall.com, or obviously you're watching it here, and there's our phone number. You can reach out to us and we can help you out with pricing. We don't quote on social media. So a lot of people say, hey, how much was this or that? We don't quote on social media, just give us a call so we know what you got and we can kind of work with you and see how what conditions may apply to yours or not. And then we got the tan, the white. These are stock colors, so the pricing is the same, but whether it's tan, white, or gray. Then the roofing itself, this is what you call a structured membrane, and you can kind of see that screen, those little squares in there. That's a mesh that's built into the product to help resist against hail, tree branches, and things like that. It's going to take a lot to cut this roof. It's going to take a lot to really breach it. We still leave the customer with a care package. The care package will have some caulking in it, it'll have some tape in it, emergency roof tape, it'll have some primers and things like that, just in case they need it. In the event they did have a heavy tree branch come down and knock a hole in it, I want to make sure it's all sealed up and they don't have any issues. So that's why we leave it with them. When they come back, the caulkings that we leave, those have a 1-year shelf life, so we'll swap that out for everybody. So I think that's about it. Let's see. Oh, the insert trim. That's what I got to show you. All right. So the way the insert trim is, we also put a gutter on the back. So now the water comes off. I don't want it running down the windows. But while I'm at it, those windows need to be sealed. These are frameless windows, so they really need to be sealed all around. You open the window and you can go around. The best product I found for this is called Big Stretch. It's like a marshmallow type. But once you put that on there, you'll have to double check it, and you may have to hit a couple other spots because it may shrink just a tad. But just the second time you go around, it's not going to shrink down to like nothing, put it that way. I mean, you may see a couple of areas where you need to touch it up. But the Big Stretch is by Sashco, and what I like about it, it's like Fluffernutter. It's really like a fluffy type. If you use a regular caulking to try to load that, you're going to probably go through a couple of tubes on each window, where this other is just the way it's, for the lack of a better word to try to identify, is like an emulsion, like a marshmallow, and it'll fill better. And it's got a lot of flexibility as well, so it's a good product that we use for these type of windows. They come in different colors, but everything needs to be sealed. We went around the ladder, but I recommend getting around the lights. You want to make sure that's sealed. You want to make sure that you have all your anything else, well, again, all the windows, latches, doors, everything. If water hits it, get it sealed. Let's see. So let me show you this piece right here. Here it is. All right. So this is what we use. Obviously that's black, but this is the same. It's just white, but you can see that groove in there. Now we don't sell anything, but this is a much better project. I have to buy like literally almost 2 miles of this stuff at a time. So, but we don't sell anything in the shop, actually. Nothing, zero. We're just service center. But you can find a similar product. I think AP Product has one that's real similar to this. But again, even the stuff that I'm telling you, you can't buy it because you have to buy it in such large quantities. But it does have that groove right in there, and that gets in that track right there. So it's actually sealed inside and outside. And when the water comes down, water has a principle. It's called a water adhesion principle, where when the water comes down, it'll want to kind of stick to, if you will, or flow against, a surface. And that's what it's going to do, and it'll go into the gutter. So all around, I like this compared to, this is the other one right here, and it just slides in that track right there, and water can still get in there. And that's what I don't like about it. I want to keep the debris. I want to keep as much out as I can. But every single screw on the coach, every single screw is all sealed. That's just the way we do it. So also getting back to sealing the coach, just popped into my head as I see it, that track, all those screws, they need to be sealed. The best way to seal those is you just unscrew it a few times, just enough so the head of the screw is coming out. Put a swab of caulking on the head and turn it back in, and it'll make like a little grommet all around everything. So you really want to have that sealed, and obviously the track and whatnot. That wasn't in this work order, but that's what needs to be done, in my opinion, to stave off any other water intrusion and any other rot that may come its way. So other than that, we appreciate y'all watching, and If again, if you have any questions, just reach out. We'll be able to help you out with everything. If you like the video, share it. Skip all the ads. We don't monetize. That's a YouTube thing. So we post these so the customer can see all the work that we do on their coach, and I know other folks do watch those videos. And I guess the more, from what I understand, I'm not a social media guy, but if you like it, the video, I guess when people are doing searches, it shows up. I don't know, you probably know more than that than I do. So, well, we appreciate you watching, and again, we thank the customer for coming all this way. We appreciate the work. Well, we're almost done. Is that loose? Pull that up. You can see that's real loose right there, so we're going to get that redone. This is obviously the slide out. The roof was all ripped. The other side, a squirrel would get up there and really started chewing away. He caught the squirrel, so he only got the roofing. But we got the same issue with the okay. Yeah, we'll get that. Then we got the same issue down there. So we're going to do all these 3 slides. We're going to do them in metal like we normally do. What he was pointing out is up here to get this all sealed back up and everything. So and we'll do the same up there. We want to make sure you have no problems when he leaves. That's why we do what we do. So the deck looks pretty good. Looks like we may possibly have to do a minor repair right here on this edge. We'll check it. Just maybe water stained. But you can see how filthy all this is. We're going to wipe all this down anyways. I want to make sure it's sealed right. But like you said, we're just going to put a metal roof on it. The deck seems fine, except for that one. That's why I say that's just water stained. So we'll clean it up, get rid of all that. And then, like you said, the other side, it's the same thing. So, meaning same slide, looks just like this. So, that's what we're going to do. Put a metal roof on all 3 of these, and be done with it. And get these all secured back and care package. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet, and the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. What are you talking about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, hit, there it is. Now you got the film. You take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a beautiful. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.